Hello and welcome to Get Good. This is a video of me starting to paint the blade of one of my Orruks. Hopefully I can get everything finished for Golden Demon in Essen in October. At least it's what I'm aiming for. I I already painted the other side of this, the sword blade, and it is this side is a bit awkward to get to, just because of like me being right-handed and the way it's angled. But I didn't record the other side when I did it, and someone asked me nicely to show how I did it, and I can't say no to that. So bear with me that I will have to turn the model a bit upside down, and just to get to paint it, because it is a bit awkward. This is a continuation of another video I did on the armor panels on another Orruk. I'm using the same paints exactly, but I'll run through them anyways in case you haven't seen it. So the entirety of the model is base coated in 2 thin coats cuirass with leather, and I did that to keep all the shadows uniform. So everywhere I have a deep shadow, it will be that kind of reddish brown to pull everything together. I just brushed it on, and you don't have to do that because I'm painting on top of everything, but it will show through a bit here and there. And I generally don't like to paint on top of pure black, so I almost always will be kind of the area I'm painting, I will be base coating that in kind of an off black, instead of having an off white, which is basically a white, but you have tinted it in some kind of color. I'm talking about an off black in the same sense that it's not black, but it is like pretty close to black, but then with like very dark gray or very dark blue or brown or whatever, green, or that, it doesn't really matter. But I'm almost always base coating the area in like an off black, just to not paint on top of black. And as I said, on these models, I have just base coated it in the same cuirass leather. This means that on top of that, I'm striping the first kind of stripy layers. You can see how I did some of it on the other side. Could be there. The darkest gray is a Vallejo German gray. It is not extremely blackish, but it is dark enough for this. I would probably, if I was base coating the entire area in that color, I probably would mix in a bit of black still. But yeah, it fits well enough. And that's the first color, the 2 kind of rows of 3. So the bottom left darkest one is that German gray. On top of that, I have a mix 50-50 of German gray and gray brown. And then in the middle bottom, I have pure gray brown. And on top of that, I have gray brown from AK with a bit of white in it. And then besides that, top left, it is the same mix, but just added even more white. And then underneath, so bottom right, I have pure white. The white I'm using is a Reaper white, but you can just use whatever white you like to use normally. So those are kind of like the mixes I'm using. I mean, you don't have to. It all depends on how thin you keep the paints and how many stripes you do and stuff like that. So if you wanted to, you could probably skip 1 or 2 of these. Just doing like blending out the stripes a bit more. But I didn't want it too stark of a jump, and I felt this was the easiest, at least for me, to get the effect done. I'm painting with the 2x magnification also for this one. Very rarely I won't be using 2x magnification, and I am for this one too, and I am because I'm painting with an Artist Opus size 00 brush, the S line, and it is quite small, which means the precision you need for it to make those stripy details is quite high, and I just don't want to strain against to give you all the details of not like that the plastic itself has many details, but I'm trying to convey that stripy look, and I don't want I want it to be neat, and I definitely feel like it helps with that in that regard. So that's why I'm using magnification 2 on this one, even though you could probably skip it if your eyes are better than mine. So we can talk a bit about the effect itself. I didn't really know, and that's why I did the other side first, just to test out how I wanted things to look. I did it quite some time ago, but it made it quite a lot easier for me to do this video, because now I knew how I wanted to do it and how it would kind of end up looking. Because I was unsure how I wanted to interpret this sword, or cleaver, whatever. And I knew I would do it in a metallic, like a non-metallic style. So I wanted it to look sharp and shiny, but I couldn't really do. Sometimes I do that trick where I'm putting almost like a chrome looking edge on a blade, or of like an axe blade or sword or knife or whatever. And I couldn't really do this here because it does have sculpted texture on it. So I needed to figure out something else, and I wanted to incorporate that like sculpted texture, which it's kind of a bit rigid, and like it kind of, I guess, looks almost like it's like when you chip a stone or something like that. So it looks kind of the same. So I needed to figure out some way to interpret that. And that's why I ended up with that stripy look, just enhancing that to convey that it is very sharp, but it is kind of like a serrated edge almost, not like a deliberate serrated edge, but still ending up that way. So that's how the stripy look was born in my mind. To make that come to life is another thing. There are really two components that are very important. One is for like doing lots and lots of stripes, of course, and you kind of have the longest stripes going from the top of the blade, like the other side than the one I am painting now. So you have kind of the longest one there, because it's kind of flat, and then it curves out towards the bottom ridge. So you have the long stripes in one end and the short stripes in the other end. But it is very important to have the short stripes too, the ones I'm painting in now, because it shows like the other edge very defined. And as I'm doing this in a non-metallic way, you still want to follow the principles of very high contrast for non-metallics. So you are pushing almost as far as you can. I think I'm using a little bit of white on this, possibly not too much, but you are pushing it quite far for it to look shiny. And I'm kind of emphasizing when I come to those raised edges. So you can see I have, even from the bottom ridge, I have some very, very small, almost dots or small stripes. And then they get kind of longer and longer as they go towards those raised ridges. And then on the other side of that, they get shorter and shorter and shorter. And then you have this side, I'm working on it right now, where you're doing kind of like those long lines. And I'm trying to concentrate those lines so they are the longest, where like that, the raised ridges, exactly like I'm doing with the bottom stripes. But I'm also keeping in mind that the light is hitting it from like up top. So as the light is traveling down, I'm kind of picking out where I want some shine spots. For example, I'm on this part of the tip curve where I'm painting right now. I kind of decided to put more of a reflection there. And I'm saying reflection, but because it kind of is, it's just comprised of stripes upon stripes. Really you can put it anywhere you'd like to, especially on that part of the blade. I just wanted to put it somewhere where I had some room to actually put the effect. So you can see, even though there is no raised edge right there where I'm making the longest kind of stripes, it is to convey the idea that it is reflecting light the most there. On the other part, I won't be filling in the entirety of the blade because I didn't want to make an hour-long video out of this, because it is the same idea with the rest of the blade. So you can't just follow what I'm doing here and kind of like copy it to the rest of it. But I'm still, the light travels down, which means I'm imagining where I'm putting the brush right now would be where light is kind of stopping, because it travels downwards, and the next time something is obstructing it, like an edge right there, and then it goes down, 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 and then you have another edge in the other end. So I'm trying to concentrate light there on those like smaller serrated areas, I guess, like between the two teeth or whatever those are. I will be doing the teeth in another color. If you've seen the like the other side of the blade on social media or whatever, you can see that I've done those in like a gold color, and I will be doing that on this side too, just to kind of break it up and make it look more interesting. So that's why I'm not putting any light on there at all. But between those two teeth, I'm kind of looking for if I think the effect is conveyed the way I want it to. And you could see before that I thought the value jump was a bit high on the big reflection in the end curve of the blade. So I just went a step back with the colors, like picking the one just before, and then going over the stripes a bit again, and then like going back. Here you can see I'm all the way up to the white, and I'm not using a lot of it. I am using some, but not a ton of it. So I'm being kind of careful, and I'm trying to kind of fill the gaps between the other stripes, the other colors here, because you don't want if you have a collection of stripes, it is okay to be able to see maybe one tone darker or maybe 2 tones darker, but not more than that. So you don't want any of the darkest colors you show through between the stripes, because that would just be too stark in general. So that's why I'm trying to be a bit careful of where I put exactly the stripes, and magnification is helping me there, definitely is. I'm touching the blade very lightly with the brush. I'm not pushing very much, and as you can see, I'm dragging the brush all the time. So I'm not stabbing with the brush at all. I'm dragging it towards me. Sorry, it sometimes will go a bit out of focus because it tries to look at the brush instead of the sword. But I'm touching quite lightly to make sure that I don't do too pronounced of a brush mark. And here you can see I'm going back with the brighter colors also here, and I'm only adding a bit of it, not very much, just a tiny dot to convey. So you can see I have that big jump in contrast from the bottom of the darkest. Very important for it to work out. And the rest of the blade is basically copying what I'm doing here, going all the way up to the next, the first teeth or the first tooth. Yeah, so you can see not touching too much and just adding a bit, looking if maybe I should add a bit more. Then I can go back and just add a dot here to close those gaps. So this is how you kind of render this serrated effect on a big blade like this to add some interest. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.